Okay, so today let's do the group anagrams problem from the NeetCode Roadmap. And so the problem is, given an array of strings, strs, group the anagrams together, you can return the answer in any order. So an anagram is a word or phrase formed by rearranging the letters of a different word or phrase, using all the original letters exactly once. So as you can see, strs, this is just a list of strings, and as you can see, bat, nat, tan, 8, eat, t. And so the reason that bat has no other anagrams is because you cannot take the letters originally from any other word in the list and rearrange it such that you can get bat. But tan and nat here, if you rearrange the letters of either, you can get the other word. And same for 8, eat, and t. And so let's get into the intuition behind this. Let's suppose that we start off with an array like this. So essentially what we're going to be doing is we need a way to keep track of what the original, what the common letters are amongst each string. So for example, in order, the common letters between eat and t are A, E, T, and then this one would be A, N, T, and this one would be A, E, T. And so you can see we can associate the words eat and t based on these two values here, which are equal. And so the best way to keep track of these keys, I suppose, would be using a dictionary. So let's suppose we have a dictionary called myDict. And so myDict, we would essentially have the sorted keys being like these here, so we'd keep those. So sorted of strings, and then the value would be obviously the unsorted version of the strings. So it'd be a list of all the associated words. So it'd be eat and t if this returned AET. But for the most part, in simple terms, the value would just be strings unsorted in a list format, of course. And so the way we would get this is by getting into the algorithm of things. So essentially, like I said, we're going to need to start off with a dictionary. So my_dict equals this. But the thing is, we want to use a default dict because we want to assign the default value of the dictionary to be a list, because we want to ultimately return a list of strings that are all anagrams grouped together. So instead we would take from the collections library and collections.default dict, and we would set it to type list because we want the default value to be a list. Next, we want to loop over every single value in strings here. So essentially we would just loop starting here, and we would take this value, and again we would sort it, and then after sorting it, we would basically append it to this default dict here, or this list value that we have by default. And so the first iteration would basically be eat, and then we would take eat, and then we would sort it, so it would become this A, E, T. And the thing is, you can't just put this into the value here because a list is not a hashable type, and so we need to actually create it or put it into a type that is immutable, because lists are mutable, right? And so the value or the key of a dictionary must be an immutable object. So in order to do that, we can simply convert this into a string. So we would take this list and convert it into AET, And from here, this basically is immutable, so we can put it into here, and so that would be our value, or our key, sorry. And then next we would take the original value here, eat, and then we would take the dictionary, so my dict of AET, and then we'd basically append to the diction or the list that is associated with this value or this key. And so we'd basically append to this value, or oh my god, this key, and ultimately append eat. So after one iteration, the dictionary would be my dict, and then we would have AET, and then its value would be eat. And then we can go on to the next iteration. So let's suppose we have this here. We go on to tan. So we take tan and then we sort it. So we get TAN, and then we turn it into a string. So then you get TAN, and then we plug this into the key, and then we would append the keys. We would append the original string to the value, or to the list at the value of this in the dictionary. So again, we'd basically do this again. So my dict of tan dot append, and we would append, oh sorry, I don't know why I didn't sort this. This would be ANT, sorry, and this would be ant. And then so we would append tan here, the original word. And so after this iteration, our dictionary would be updated to this. So ANT, and then tan. And for the last iteration, let's redo this all over again. So we would have TEA, and then we sort it. So once it's sorted, it becomes AET. And then once we turn it into a string, we basically we get AET, we plug it into the key of the dictionary, and then we append to the list at the value of AET in the dictionary. So my dict of AET dot append, and then we would append T, and then lastly the dictionary would be updated to this. So because these two share the same key, we obviously append to that key, and so we get T. So as you can see, we kind of have the grouped anagrams here, but the thing is, we want to return in the form of a list, okay? So we need to extract the data that is in this dictionary at these values, and then convert it into a list of lists. So what we would do here is essentially we take a loop and we loop over every item in the dictionary. So that can be done by for key value in my dict dot items. And what this will do is basically we kind of separate the keys and values into its own variables here for every single value in the dictionary. Oh, sorry. And then from there, we can essentially just append the value to a list, and that's basically our answer. And so let's get into the coding implementation of things. If this will. Okay, let's do this. Okay. So again, we got to start with a dictionary. So myDict equals collections dot default dict of, and then we get the default type of list. And then we iterate over every string in strs. So for string, oh, actually you can't do that. For s in strs, we essentially are gonna sort it. So s. So then let's say sorted s equals sorted of s. And then so at this point, the string right now has been converted into an array of characters, and so then we have to join them together. So then joined s equals this. So basically empty character dot join, and then sorted s. And then now at that step, we basically have converted back into a string, and so we can use this string as a key in our dictionary. So myDict of joined s dot append the original string, so s. And so if we print this, we should ideally get just a bunch of grouped anagrams. So yeah, we have the anagrams grouped over here. And then so now the last thing we have to do is return a list. So let's say our result equals a list. And then for key value in myDict.items, we basically append to res. So res.append the value, and then we can just return res, and that's our solution. Yep. And so the thing is, this time complexity, we can kind of solve this like this. So let me grab the iOS device and then full screen. Okay, yeah. So let's clear this page up. So the thing is, we're basically iterating over every single string in this list, right? So that's an of and operation, and so for every single string, we sort it, right? And sorting is an n log n solution, or n log n time complexity. Okay, so we can basically deduce this down to O of n, because for every string we have to sort through the whole string list array thing, and then for every single one of the strings in the strings array, we have to sort it, so that would be times O of n log n. And so essentially we get a time complexity of O of n squared log n. And that's essentially our time complexity.